makes sense that the Mandalorians would help them escape, because that would help bridge that gap into how Ahsoka gets to Mandalore. They escape, they help them get off the planet, and it ends with them contacting Anakin. I can
Yeah.
see that. I can definitely see that. Whether that's how it'll play out or not, I don't know. But I mean, man, this is exciting. This is starting to get exciting. I mean, we have 5 episodes of the Clone Wars left, man. I can't deal with
Um,
this.
I know. Oh, and it's going to go by. Seven just went by very fast. Now, I need to say something. We know that Dave Filoni rewrote some of these episodes because these would have been originally, I believe, in season six. And James Arnold Taylor has talked for a long time about how the original plan was for 8 seasons, and you and I have talked in previous episodes about how in a number of different ways there were enough episodes to do that. So I think with the rewriting that Filoni did here, and like we said at the top of this episode, he's one of the writers on here. He's making this a bridge into the Siege of Mandalore, because I think originally we would have seen these probably separated into season 6 and season 8. Um, so so Dave Filoni is just as you
It's
described, almost
six
making
and
it.
seven.
Well, yes and no. Remember, you and I have talked before about, and like I said, I remember James Arnold Taylor saying that originally it was going to be 8. When you and I look at um, the Dark Disciple, the number of episodes that they put in there,
Mhm.
that's a lot. The Son of Dathomir, that I think is another 4. I think maybe is it 8 or is it 12? I'm trying to remember. I could grab Dark Disciple right now, but you're looking at enough episodes to really bump it up. You and I have talked about season 6 that was released and how they could have had more there in 7, and then even in a season 8 put like the Siege of Mandalore at the end of that. But all of that got shelved and screwed around when there was the purchase by Disney. But yeah, I think we could say maybe in 6 to 7, or even separated 6 to 8. I don't like these episodes. What, 12 of them? You could, like you and I said, piggyback these on. What did we get in the Lost Missions on Netflix? And I bought it on Blu-ray. Was
Mhm.
it 12, 13?
Yeah, there were 13 episodes in that.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, see the Lost Missions, which are now being called season 6, and
Right.
these episodes, which are being called season 7, we easily could have been one season.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I believe we had this discussion in our last episode, or maybe the episode before, where this was. I think the thinking behind this is we're seeing stuff that we've heard about before. We knew these episodes were already in the work when it got canned. So
Mhm.
I think all they've done is taken what they've already had in the works
Yep.
and just
Yep.
put the finishing touches on it to release it. I know that's what they did with the Lost Missions. I know that's what they did with the Bad Batch. And
Right.
I know for a fact they were working on the Mandalore arc, the Siege of Mandalore arc as well, because we knew that was coming. We were told that was something that they were working on and wanted to do. And
So the,
everyone, they announced that, everybody, and they realized they weren't getting. Everybody just went, ah.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
amongst them going, ah. But now it's coming. I mean, we
Yeah.
are I mean, a week from Friday, we are getting the first episode of the Siege of Mandalore arc.
Oh man, I am pumped. And again, here's what's going to be fascinating too, Aaron, is how similar or different is it going to be from Gendy Tartakovsky's micro series, Clone Wars, the micro series, because that goes well. That shows Palpatine being kidnapped and stuff like that, but doesn't
Mhm.
show Mandalore. So
Correct.
it'll be curious if they'll sprinkle a little bit of that in, or just say, hey, just leave the kidnapping of Palpatine in that micro series. But anyway, I'm excited, my friend. I'm curious to see how they play this out.
I'm curious as well. I mean, I know from what I understand, from what I've read and what I've heard, that Siege of Mandalore arc is going to ends up overlapping Order 66, which is why uh,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and Anakin aren't on Mandalore with Ahsoka because they're rushing back to Coruscant to rescue the Chancellor.
Yeah.
So, from what I understand, this arc is overlapping Revenge of the Sith. So,
No.
oh man, this is going to be
Ooh, man.
April and the first 2 weeks and the first week of May is going to go by so fast. Just wait. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. It's going to drag getting to Friday. Then Friday's going to go by so quick. And then it's going to drag getting the next Friday. And then Friday's going to go by so. It's going to be like, man, this last arc is probably going to feel like The Mandalorian did. Oh, I got to wait another week for the rest of this. So.
Well, and the next thing you know, Mandalorian's in our rearview mirror, and we're looking forward to season 2 now. Yeah.
I know. I'll tell you, we got a lot of great stuff coming, man. A lot of great stuff. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up this discussion tonight, and with our final thoughts on Dangerous Debt. For me, I really liked this episode. This was a great fit. It packed the emotional punch. It packed the heaviness with the action and a good laugh that I needed to change my opinion. This was the episode that changed my opinion of this arc.
Okay.
There's no hands about it. This, unless they royally blow it in the final episode of this arc, this is the episode that changed my opinion. Because this was a great episode. It gave us needed background on these characters and why they are the way they are. It gave us the catalyst we needed to see the Ahsoka convert from pretty much the lost kid we saw at the beginning of these episodes, at the beginning of this arc, into begin the journey to who we see in Rebels. So I loved this episode. I thought it was great. David, what are your final thoughts on this episode?
Oh, brother, I'm piggybacking on you. I just really enjoyed it. I would definitely give it. I'm thinking an A-. Just I'm going back and forth. I keep thinking about some conversations you and I have had. Texting or through direct messages on Twitter, and you and I have talked about Ahsoka without her lightsabers. I'm hoping, I'm thinking this next episode, like you said, if they don't blow it, is going to be an A. Whereas this one, I'm going to put an A-. But I wanted to point out just some little fun bits I like just in my final thoughts. I love seeing Hammerhead and Blue Snaggletooth. We saw them on the lower levels of Coruscant. Clearly, they must have been planning a mission themselves, not just Rafa and Trace and Ahsoka, but they're there and they're caught by the pike. So it was fun to see them messing around. Really seeing a Hammerhead with a Weequay pirate. That was fun to see them knocking some pikes down and stuff like that. Real quick, we heard the Wilhelm scream from a pike. When not Rafa, but Trace shoots some of the barrels and you see a pike go flying. So we're not going to be hearing the Wilhelm scream much anymore per Matthew Wood. They've got something different apparently they're using. The colorful explosions, that's Joel Aaron. He's all over that. When he blows up Star Destroyers, when he blows up anything, it's got this beautiful coloring, and he does such an awesome job with that. I really enjoyed seeing the prison cells on Obadiah. We'd seen Anakin and Obi-Wan go there in season 6, those lost missions, looking for clues about Sifo Dyas, and they end up running into Melman. He was in one of the cells there, and then of course Count Dooku chokes him out. But it was neat to see them back in those areas that the Pikes own. That was really neat. You'd mentioned the humor just was so good. what was it? Rafa talking about you can have the family business, and Tracy's like, I don't want the family business. Well, you're going to get it anyways. Um, I love when Ahsoka was using the Force and pulling the pikes up, and then Trace thought she was such a good shot. That was other parts of humor that you and I had talked about. Um, I wrote down "Never Trust a Godel," voiced by D. Bradley Baker. You see him, and I was trying to think in that Ahsoka arc. It seemed like she runs across the Godel who's begging for change, and the lower levels, of course, aren't there. But this is on a different planet. But it was neat to hear D. Bradley Baker voice that. That was really neat. And then just my final thought was, again, the Jedi's response to Rafa and Trace, and it reminds me. I'll say this real quickly. I remember the pastor of my church doing a sermon, and he was running through memes back when we had lost power here in Florida. After, let's see, we had hurricane. My brother's in Houston, so it was Harvey, H, and then I. Then we had Irma, HI. Remember that when we had the two hurricanes?
Oh yeah.
It was HI, Harvey and Irma, and we had lost power here. And my pastor said he was looking at different memes and getting a kick out of some of them. And one of the ones he saw that kind of really was kind of sobering, very similar to Rafa and Trace talking to Ahsoka at the beginning of this episode, is my pastor said he saw one like talking about the challenges that were going on in Houston, just as we were starting to have the challenges here in Florida with Irma. And it showed the back of a semi truck, and the door is open and it's empty. And the meme is, this is a truck that is, again, kind of go with me. It's supposed to be going to Houston to help them there. And the meme says, sending our thoughts and prayers to you there in Houston. And it's just like an empty truck, and that really struck me. Kind of like when Rafa is looking at Ahsoka and she says, this Jedi came and spoke to me and Trace and just said, the Force will be with you. Mm. Well, guess what? The empty semi-trailer truck doesn't. You know what needs to be in the back of that? You know what people of faith need to do? Fill the truck with all kinds of supplies. And not that I'm saying not to pray, but the thoughts and prayers thing doesn't mean a whole lot. Just like it doesn't mean a whole lot to Rafa and Trace when the Jedi say, "Hey, Force will be with you." Well, guess what? It falls on deaf ears. And so I just wanted to bring that up because, and at the beginning of the session, you'd asked me, how we're doing and stuff, and I have to say that I'm very thankful that I can still work as a clinical psychologist. We're doing all the virtual visits, but I don't want to be the kind of person that just says, "Hey, I'm thinking about you." No, I want to be helping. And so I think about the back of that semi trailer. I think about Rafa and what she said, and I think about the kind of person I want to be. And so that's kind of the neat thing about these Star Wars episodes, getting us to think about, I want to be someone who's actually helping, not just talking. So those are my final thoughts.
Excellent. Loved it. And I have to say, I love the fact that you gave Hammerhead and Blue Snaggletooth a backstory
right.
as to how they wound up on Obadiah.
They did.
From Coruscant. I love your backstory. I mean, that's the kind of great stuff you're going to get here at Star Wars Reactions, where we're going to give backstories on people that, were in one place, one episode, and another place in the next episode. Aaron, reused.
Hey, no, it is. It's Aaron, you're not going to get this kind of commentary on any other podcast.
No, you're not. Backstories galore.
That's right.
Backstories galore. Love it. All right. So, you gave that episode an A-, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A- for David. If you're wondering what we're talking about, if you're new to Star Wars Reactions, we grade all of our episodes just like you would get a grade at school. A, B, C, D, or F. So David scored this episode at A-, And I actually concur. That was the grade I had given it. Because there was just so much awesomeness in this episode.